there's connection. Okay. Okay, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Oh my God, it's such a great privilege to see you. When I saw you on Sunday, I didn't believe my eyes. I was inside and something kept saying, go out, go out. And when I went out and when Mrs. Nkechi introduced you, I'm like, oh my God, this is something I've always, someone I've always wanted to meet. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to, have a live chat with you and also get them to, ask you questions. Well done, ma.
Thank you
First,
very
guys,
much.
welcome everyone to the Loretta Show again. Like you know, my name is Chinelo Loretta Ono. Today we have, guess who we have? The first female pilot, the first Nigerian female pilot. That's what we have today on the show. So feel free to bring your questions regarding career, regarding how to get into the aviation industry, regarding the aviation industry, what you think should be done. Feel free to get your questions, and she is here for the next 30 minutes with us to answer all our questions, okay? Firstly, Ma, what made you decide you want to be a pilot?
Thank you very much, Loretta, and hi, viewers.
Hello.
Yeah. The idea of adventure, I have always been fascinated about flying, and when I saw the opportunity, I just felt this is a wonderful opportunity. I love adventure. I want challenging things, exciting things, and that was actually what led me into flying.
Wow. Those days, I believe our parents was they want us to be either doctors or nurses or engineers. I mean, was there any questions from your family? Why do you want to go and do piloting? Or did you do it after you had finished, after you graduated from a certain course? What was it something you did immediately after secondary school, or you had to wait a little bit?
It was what I did immediately after secondary school.
Okay.
Surprisingly, my auntie, who was a mentor to me, did not object to it, and once she gave her approval, every other person in the family just kind of gave in. So it was exciting. She was the first person to go to come to England from my village, Akwete, and the first nurse. So she too liked the spirit of adventure, and when I told her this was what I wanted to do, she was excited about it and gave me all the support and encouragement I needed, and every other person in the family kind of flowed in.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. How long were you a pilot for? For how long? Are you still in the business, or you've retired?
I'm not completely retired.
Okay.
There are some issues I'm having with the government, but I had been in aviation industry for well over 35 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Older than me.
Not worry, I'm coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Sorry, we have some people sending in their questions now. So, but before I start taking questions here, I'd like to ask one question. Someone sent me says, why is it difficult for Nigerian authorities to put navigational infrastructures at our airports that can help pilots land at zero visibility as done in other climes? Why? You've been a pilot for over 35 years now, and what do you think is the problem? Why can't we have those infrastructures like we have in England and whatnot? Why can't we do it in Nigeria?
We have infrastructures to help us land at a reduced visibility, not zero visibility.
Okay.
Part of the problem of having the zero visibility, there are a lot of things.
Okay.
One is the cost,
Okay.
two is the maintenance, and three is electricity.
Okay.
So it is better, I think it's even safer for us to have some margin, say visibility of 200 meters, 300, 500 meters, as against zero visibility, which will be quite risky. You are depending totally on the instrument and anything could happen.
Okay.
But we have the ILS, instrument landing system, that you can land with visibility of 200 meters.
Okay. Someone asked a question, ma'am. She said, what was your first feelings the first time you know you had to fly a plane? What was your first feeling? Or how did you feel like?
Well, in all honesty, I had some fear. That is obvious.
Okay.
But I had confidence in God, and I told myself, I preached to myself, I said, if others who are not Christians can go into an aircraft and learn how to fly, women like myself, and I have Christ in me and God is with me, why wouldn't I be able to?
Absolutely.
So my confidence in God and reliance in God helped me, gave me the confidence to just enter the aircraft and go and fly. And that was exactly what happened when I did my first solo. The first solo is the first time one is able to take up the aircraft and go and fly without an instructor being beside you. That fateful day, 6th of June 1980, 1980.
81?
Yeah.
I'm using my age to cap it.
I think it was actually 1980.
Okay.
6th June 1980. My instructor just, after flying for about 30 minutes, he just told me, okay, you are clear solo. And unfortunately, he just said, if you like, go and kill yourself or something like that, which was a very discouraging thing to say. But I said, no, I'm not going to kill myself. God is with me. And the moment he left me to go, there was this confidence that came on me. And I was singing and praising God right inside the aircraft, instead of being rigid and fringy and wondering, what am I doing? Will I make it? But God gave me such grace, such peace, such confidence, and I went up and did the 3 landings perfectly well and came down. And my confidence in God has made a world of difference in my life and in everything that I did and I'm doing.
Wow, that's amazing, and that speaks to us all as in other sectors. If you have confidence in ourselves, in God, in ourselves, then we can, we can reach, we can break the ceiling. As a woman, we can break any ceiling. I want to ask a question. What was it like? Because you're the first, female pilot in Nigeria, even not West Africa. But what's the feeling like in the industry? Was there like not necessarily discrimination? Was there like men saying, "Oh, that's a woman"? Where did they treat you like, "Go and sit there, you're a woman, you can't do this"? I mean, what was the feeling like amongst your colleagues?
My colleagues, as my mates in the classroom, accepted me. I think the instructors were a bit skeptical and all that, and they told me, well, this is a man's world. If you are stepping into a man's world, then you have to live up to expectation.
Isn't the world a man's world?
So there were a lot of challenges, but I thank God I was able to overcome all that. My mates were quite encouraging, especially those of them that were Christians. They were quite supportive. And in the world, if I get out or flying somebody, there's always that feeling, will she be able to? Is she capable? There were that kind of fear and anxiety, but I thank God that God has always helped me to surprise them, to know that what a man can do, a woman can do better with the help of God.
Yes, with the help of God. I like that. What a man can do, a woman can do better with the help of God. Yes. I like that. Someone asked a question here from Mayor Amo Kingdom. He said, have you ever had any near crash situation?
Yes, I have. I had an accident, and the aircraft I had was a total write-off, but God was so good, so nice that I didn't have a scratch. We were 4 of us in the aircraft. We never had a scratch. Wow. I didn't even take painkiller, Panadol, not even have tablet for it.
Was that in Nigeria? Or?
In Nigeria, yes. We had gone up to fly, and the aircraft developed engine problem, and this is normal thing. You are taught how to handle emergencies. So I handled it, and with the grace of God and prayer to God, we came out on hand. Wow. Yes, I remember telling the girls, well, this is it, but pray God is able to deliver us. And he did just that.
Wow. Sometimes I used to imagine, may the souls of those who died during an air crash rest in peace. I used to imagine what was their last thoughts before it all went blank. I don't know. But what can we do in Nigeria, in aviation industry in Nigeria, to reduce? Well, we've not had one in a long time. But what can we do, to sort of, when there's emergency like that, there's this quick, response from the response team. What can we put in place? You've been in the industry, you've flown for years, and I'm sure you'd have seen some little things from traveling to different places. I mean, what do you think the Nigerian government can do to, for response, emergency response?
Well, yes, our response time should be quicker. Shorter time should be spent responding to emergency situations. Our network will be better. There should be emergency centers or things put in place at the moment there's any form of emergency, then people, the people responsible should be able to respond as quickly as possible. There are a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of time wasting, and a lot, we don't have serviceable equipment, just name it, a host of many things that need to be put in place. At times you find that the firefighters, their vehicle may not have the necessary chemicals, or they may not even be serviceable. There are even situations where these vehicles are supposed to be serviced regularly, they are not serviced regularly. And then at the time of emergency, you see people running helter-skelter, not being prepared, so to speak. I mean, in the developed countries, you have a maximum of 90 seconds. They should be prepared and get to the site of accident, but that is not the case with us. You find a situation where it will take 20 minutes before we get the appropriate response we need, and anything could have happened within that period of time. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Kachi asked this question. Kachi Okezie. He said, "How did you combine your career with Christian missionary work?" Because I was meant to understand you were a missionary, Christian missionary. So how did you combine your career with Christian missionary work?
When I served as when I went to the mission field as a missionary, I was not flying then. I stopped flying for that period of 7 years, and then thereafter came back and continued.
Did you when you leave for that long, do you do like a fresher course?
Oh,
or just...
yeah. In aviation has the highest safety margin, and as such, every 6 months, depending on your age, you do medical examination to ascertain that you are healthy, and every 13 months you do instrument renewal to ascertain that you can still fly the instrument. So constantly they are checked. It is still on all over the world. It cannot be compromised.
Because the impression we get is that they don't really do anything in the aviation industry.
No, you renew your license every year, and before you send your license for renewal, you must have done proficiency check, you must do medical examination, you must do your instrument renewal. And if you have a type, you must go for type rating, refresher course on type rating. And it's not just enough that you are going there, you must pass each and every one of them. Otherwise, your license will not be validated.
Wow.
Yes. So if, for instance, you are not well enough, a doctor checks you and finds out that you have some health challenges, your license could be seized.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's comforting. That's comforting.
Yes. There's a lot of safety margins in aviation.
Okay. Henry Chinedu is asked, and he said, given the state of aviation in the Nigerian given the state of affairs in the Nigerian aviation sector today, would you be comfortable flying in Nigerian aircraft today, safety-wise?
Yes, because our engineers are qualified, and there are procedures they follow. And then you yourself entering the aircraft, you have a checklist. You yourself, your license is renewed regularly. You go through examination yourself, and then you have a checklist you use to follow to make sure that everything is in order.
Okay.
Yes, I'm quite confident flying in
Now.
in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that brings me to my second question.
And up till about 3 years ago, I
Okay.
was still flying in aviation.
Okay.
Yes.
What airlines were you?
Okay, I was actually flying with Nigerian College of Aviation Technology.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's good. That brings me to my second question. You know, the national airports that was built in Abuja. It does not have a second and a third runway.
Yes.
I mean, how come? As in, how? I mean, isn't that? I mean, why would you are in the industry? Isn't that ridiculous? Like, what happened?
Yes.
Did they forget themselves? So forget that they need a second and third route?
Well, that is Nigeria for you. Actually, the lifespan for the present runway had far exceeded the time. By now, they should have renovated, resurfaced the runway. But for one reason or the other, we keep postponing. And now it has dawned on them that the operations now will have to shift to Kaduna in order to give them time to resurface the runway. Yes, we should have had a second runway in Abuja long before now. But misplaced priority, property of funds, and politics, so on and so forth, had all played into all this to cause the delay.
Losing lives, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Okay.
Unfortunate.
Nemeka is asking, he said, what are the factors militating against establishment of a national carrier in Nigeria when smaller nations like Kenya and Ethiopia have, thriving ones? What are the Nigerian factors affecting us not to have our own national carrier?
There's politics, and then I feel the willpower. There's a lot of corruption in Nigeria that's such that if such an airline is set up, chances are that the power that be may not want it to succeed and thrive. So the government is reluctant sinking money into an airline that will not be self-sustaining. That will be a big drain in the government's pocket. But nonetheless, they've set up a committee. They've made up their mind that they are going to set up a national carrier, which is a welcoming idea. But how they are going to handle all these complications, only God knows. I pray and desire that we will have a national airline that will be sustainable.
Okay. Another question is from David Chubike. He said, how can you encourage aspiring females to, attain such height like yours, get into the aviation industry and be pilots? How can you encourage young females?
Well, this interview is actually supposed to do that.
Absolutely.
As they are listening, is to motivate them, encourage them to aspire to go into aviation industry, into flying as a career. And I just want to encourage them. If I can do it, you too can do it. Okay. I didn't come from a well-to-do family. I didn't have the resources, the means, and I didn't even think I can do it in my own strength. I didn't think I was intelligent enough to do it, but God did everything for me. I got into the aviation industry, into the school as a cadet pilot. That meant that the federal government, the school, paid all my expenses for me. And when I had challenges of trying to learn the act of flying, I called on God, and God enabled me. And then I spoke to my friends, my colleagues. I asked questions. I asked for explanations, and they were there for me. So if I can be a pilot today, I believe every girl who desires to be one, with prayer, with asking questions and seeking for advice, that they will be able to achieve that with the help of God. So I want to encourage every girl out there. We need females to be pilots, because I think we are more cool-headed, we are more composed, we are more thorough. Yeah, we are more thorough. We will make a better pilot if we overcome our fear. and with the help of God, I mean, I feel more confident flying, being on the control steering, than just being a passenger, because when you are at the controls, you know what is going on.
Okay.
And since you don't want to kill yourself or endanger yourself, that you are there, you are in charge, you are doing everything to stay alive and help others to stay alive. So we should dispel the fear. There's a lot of safety factors built into aviation industry or into an aircraft, that aircraft is the safest man-made machine you can fly in the world.
Wow.
Go and check it out. Go and Google it out, because there are a lot of redundancies. There are a lot of backup in aviation that helps the aircraft to be the safest means of transportation. Say, for instance, if you have an aircraft with 3 engines, that is 3 engines. Well, when you come to car, you only have one engine in a car.
Yeah.
But in an aircraft, you have 3, 4, some even up to 16 engines. But where you have 3 engines, I know one engine can sustain that aircraft in flight, even where 2 fails. And even where all the 3 fails, which is almost impossible, you've been taught how to manage the aircraft, how to maneuver it, and bring the aircraft safely to ground. Here there are human factors, and that is the greatest problem we have in aviation. I would say over 75% of accidents are caused by human error, not by the aircraft.
Really?
By human error. So if we can remove the factor of human beings, then you find that our aircraft will be so many, maybe 90% safe, if not more, and all that. So that's where we have our greatest problem. So aircraft is very, very safe, very, very safe.
Okay, Ima is watching all the way from Mexico. He says he's
Wow.
being a fan. Ima Abuchilai from Mexico. Then Kufure from America. He said, "What's the biggest aircraft you've ever commanded?"
The biggest aircraft is the TBM 850. It's a single engine aircraft for pressurized and can fly at flight level 310. It's the fastest single aircraft in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have another question from Chino Sugodwin. He said, "What are the measures to ensure aviation safety in the face of corruption and economic recession as Nigeria is facing now?"
One thing is our attitude. We must have the right attitude. Zero tolerance for corruption, and willingness to make personal sacrifices, because many times it is because of our personal interest, personal gains, that make us to compromise on safety. If all of us will have zero tolerance for corruption and 100% desire for safety, then we will be able to attain what all that is needed have been put in place. The CIA has, FAA rather, has come to Nigeria, and they have given us Category 1 certification. So we shouldn't. We have what it takes, but it's the willpower, the attitude to say no to corruption and maintain the standard. And of course, the federal government too should make aviation industry or airline operation viable. When they put a lot of tax on the fuel, or the cost of fuel is very high, and then tax on importation of spare parts, and the high rise of this exchange rate and all that.
Yes.
All this impinges, affects the running of an airline, because all their spare parts, even a pin, is bought from out of the country.
Yeah.
So they depend so much on foreign exchange, and that makes running operation of an airline very, very expensive. All these things come into play. Yes, the government has its own role to play. Individuals have their own role to play, and the operators themselves to have their own role to play, so that we'll have the highest level standard, safety standard possible.
Thank you so much. We have another question. Sorry, I know the questions keep coming. There are the questions by the side.
Yeah,
Keep coming.
yeah.
We have other questions. Are there association of or umbrella body that brings together pilots in Nigeria? Where what are they doing? If there is, what are they doing to pressure the government to fix our decayed aviation infrastructure? Is there like an umbrella body?
Yes, we have umbrella bodies. There's NAIPE. There are a host of other ones too. That they are trying to, but depends so much on the government and how strong and effective those umbrella bodies are. They are not as strong and powerful as ASU and these other organizations that will just put their feet down, and then the government will begin to shake and respond. Yes, but they are smaller bodies, and the federal government doesn't really care so much.
But I think they can, because almost maybe a few percent of Nigerian fly. So I think if they come together and say we're not flying for the next 1 week, no airline is. But the thing is, how would the airline cooperate? But if the pilots come together and say we're not flying until the federal government puts this and this and this, I think that would speak much to the federal government. I don't know.
Yeah, it should, but will they have that cooperation? Will operators be willing
to do that?
And will individual persons, is there any maybe measure of punishment or denial that will motivate or encourage a pilot to down tools and follow what the union is saying? Yes.
Okay.
We have other unions like NAITE and the host of them. There are quite a number of them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Joseph Chichi said she remembers meeting you at the Chapel of Grace in Abu Zara every Sundays. I don't know. Okay. Zara, she said she's saying hi.
Okay.
We have
that should be Chapel of Salvation, Zara.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We have another question here. Let me just, because there's so much. I'm just trying to get through the. Okay. Sorry, we have some questions here. But before I want to ask a question. If you were made the to oversee aviation industry, be a minister of aviation, I don't know, I think they've merged it together, Minister of Transport, or if you're meant to be the one to oversee aviation, what are the first 5 things you would do in the aviation sector?
One thing is that I must ensure that we have the highest level of safety. Making sure that NCA is doing its job to make sure that safety becomes paramount in the industry. And then I want to float, not me, but encourage that we have low fares airlines, because I believe that aviation drives economy, drives a lot of industry. And if we can have low rate airlines or low fares airline, then that is going to encourage many people to travel by air, and that is going to boost aviation industry, which in turn will boost our own economy and industry. Like you have in Ethiopia, the airline in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian airline generates a lot of money for the government. We want to establish something like that, and then following up on that, to make Nigeria a hub where all flights leaving and coming into Africa will want to pass through Nigeria. And also be able to make the airports like what you have in Amsterdam, Paris, where in that airport you have everything, a big hub center where you could have your meeting, so many things. Yes, just develop a very big hub center for the growth of aviation industry and for businesses and all that. And then a maintenance base. It is very, very important, because many operators take their aircraft out of the country to go and maintain.
Do they?
Yeah,
So
they do
we
that.
don't maintain our
Very few. Most of them go abroad for maintenance, so that's expensive.
Okay.
In terms of foreign exchange, expensive in terms of time, because it will take time to fly the aircraft there, it will take time to bring them back, and then you have to pay all the personnel, the pilot, the engineers that are going to take the aircraft down and bring it back. But if you have a maintenance base in Nigeria, then the ground time of an aircraft will be greatly reduced, and it will save a lot of cost, and it will check capital flight for us. So these are 5 things at least that came on my fingertips.
That's
Not more.
If you put all that into practice, I mean, Nigeria aviation will be the best in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Another question from Kachi said, how did you combine?
And then another thing I would like to do is to encourage our airlines to employ many of the Nigerian trained pilots and engineers. It is pathetic, it's painful, it's discouraging to know that many Nigerian youths who the government or parents have trained, to train a pilot, you pay a minimum of 7.5 million. And to have such a person sit at home for days, months, weeks, years after training is a huge waste of resources. Many graduate pilots are there looking for a job. Our airlines will not want to take them for one selfish reason or the other. These pilots have their basic training as pilots. All they need is type rating. In the past, Nigerian Airways used to sponsor students in the Nigerian College of Aviation Technology School. And upon graduation, they are taken straight into the airline and they will begin to fly for them. Not only Nigerian Airways, Aero Contractors was doing that. Bristol Helicopters was doing that. Nigerian Police was doing that. Then how come now that many of our airlines will prefer to poach pilots as against absorbing these freshly graduated pilots? We are not patronizing our own. And you find out that many of our oil industry, our helicopter, foreign pilots. This is very, very bad. We are not patriotic at all. We need to be more patriotic.
Yeah, but if like you said, there's so many safety measures in place that you get to go through for you to be a pilot. So if all those things are in place, then why aren't the airlines and the companies, employing Nigerian pilots? Is it because they feel, I don't know, is it that Nigerian mentality of this is foreigner, this is a foreigner, he will know better? Because if it's the same thing that the same thing you learn in, for let's say UK, that you learn in Nigeria as a pilot, then why wouldn't they employ those who graduate from?
Well, they could have their own personal reasons, but one of the basic reasons is
because those people are expensive. You have to pay them. But those people are expensive as well. You have to pay them in
foreign currencies.
You have to pay them in foreign currencies and all that. So
yeah, it could. I don't know. It could be a way of laundering money. As I said, people have their reasons.
Yeah.
But the initial training is somewhat expensive. So, I mean, for type, these pilots are already full-fledged pilots.
Okay.
But before you can fly any type of aircraft, you have to get a type rating for that particular aircraft. So, maybe these airlines don't want to invest money in the type rating. They will rather employ somebody who has the type than train somebody to get the type rating. But there could be other reasons. But whatever reasons it is they have, I think it is necessary and important for them to patronize their own. We cannot develop the aviation industry if we are not patronizing our own people. It's not possible. We cannot grow our economy if we do not patronize our own things. It's not possible.
Absolutely. Thanks, absolutely. Another question someone is asking about is, how did you combine your career with family or children, and how did you? Because usually Nigerians, it's either you become a housewife or you can't make it as a career person. How did you combine the family life and career?
Well, I want to give the kudos to my husband, or let me start with God. Give kudos to God, then my husband. In the sense that knowing God made me to be humble, and to realize that career is not the ultimate, it's not the end of life. Because I think many women who end up that way feel the career is the ultimate, is the end of life, no other thing matters and all that. But God helped me to succeed in career. He brought a gentleman, a God-fearing person that married me, and my husband was very, very understanding. He understood. We had an agreement. I mean, he knew that I was into flying, and I knew he was going to be a full-time Christian worker going into missionary work, and we had that understanding. So whenever an issue came up, we prayed about it, we sensed the leading of God, and we followed the leading of God. So there were times I had to give 7 years of my life and career to follow him to Zambia for us to be missionaries there. And then when I came back to Nigeria and I was made director, the head of Nigerian College of Aviation Technology.
For how long was that?
About 2.5 years. So it was extremely demanding, extremely demanding. My husband was very understanding, very supportive, and gave me all the necessary encouragement. And I have 3 kids.
Any grandchildren?
3 adults, not yet. Yeah, 3 adults actually. My last born is a boy, over 20 years. He's a pilot.
He's a pilot as well. Oh, that's good. That's very good. Yes. So is he flying in Nigeria? Any Nigeria airlines?
Not yet. He's furthering his education. He's doing aviation management course in the States, so that he could combine the piloting with aviation management. So that's what he's doing presently, and then flying at intervals to keep his license current. As I told you, if he doesn't fly, he runs out of license.
Wow, that's good. Wow, that's good. Thank you so much. Kufri asks, were you ever tempted during your career time to leave fixed wings and get an add-on rotor aircrafts?
No. Well, how will I say? There was the desire, temptation, maybe because of the financial benefit, but I didn't think I had the guts to fly rotary wings and all that. I just felt that they are a lot more unsafe or less safer than the fixed wings. Yes, but I didn't pursue that. I think they are more complicated. They are.
Yeah, okay. And I think this should be our last question. The questions are still coming, but because of your time. Another question. This is asking about why is it so difficult for the Nigerian airport authorities to maintain facilities at our airports with less human traffic and space, even after charging the passengers for such, when private malls in Nigeria maintain such facilities in private space without charging the customers who are even more in traffic?
A number of things. Government's work is nobody's work.
Yeah.
The attitude of the people to the work.
Okay.
And I want to say to the supervisors, those who are supposed to put their eyes on and make sure things are done, and then release of finances necessary to keep the infrastructures in the states that they should be. So a host of other things, but as I said, is the attitude. If each and every one of us have the right attitude, then we could go a long way. In many places, I mean, in Britain here and other places, there are places you go and you see that they don't have all the money, but you see people dedicated to their work. Whether there's somebody supervising or not supervising, whether the finances are provided or not provided, they make the most of the opportunity they have with what they have, and things are working. Nigerians need to be more patriotic. They need to be less selfish and really serve for the glory and honor of God, and for the sake of the nation. We need to be much more devoted and dedicated to our work and our nation.
Okay, thank you. This is a commendation from Evangelist Nahira. She said, people like you should head the aviation industry in Nigeria. Haven't been there and done that. Instead of employing mediocres and never do well, parading themselves as ministers. This her question brings me to another question. Why is it that people that head sectors, let's say aviation, our government brings a doctor to head aviation, a medical doctor to aviation. I mean, why is it that? Why is that so? And what can we do to change that? Because you were there, you've had this experience 35 years, so you know what to do, what not to do, So why is it that we always, like she said, make people who have no idea of aviation as ministers? I mean, is it for selfish reasons?
Well, yeah, I want to say selfish reasons and at times too political reasons and all that is unfortunate. But I want to mention that the present Minister of Aviation has some aviation knowledge. Okay. Yeah, but he has not been in the mainstream of aviation for sure.
I think that's Hadi.
Yes, Sarika Hadi, Senator Sarika Hadi. Yes. And it is important that our government should have a rethink. Why put a round peg in a square hole? I think we'll go a long way if we will put round pegs in round holes. God will help us to do that.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, the last question, because if we take all these questions today, we're going to be here. So the last question, someone is asking, what are the business opportunities as an entrepreneur? What are the business opportunities in the aviation sector, apart from having an airline? What are the other business opportunities that one can get in the aviation industry?
There are lots of opportunities. One could toe the line of tourism. One could go to the line of catering. Even producing
tourism. In what is it? Tourism in what? Tourism in what?
You could have small tourist aircraft that you can use to fly people around. Okay. Set that up, and then even you could. Yeah, I've talked about catering. I talked about even making uniforms for the airlines and all that is involved. There are a host of other things one can do in the aviation industries. In fact, aviation industries has the ability of multiplying, I think, 15 times. Okay. That for one aircraft or one airline, there are up to 15 job opportunities. Even in the area of hotels. Okay. Yeah. You could set up a hotel. There are so many hotels that are set up right there, or even in business partner with airlines or close to the airport that people can, as they are landing, go, or even food carts and all that. Even in the terminal buildings where you could decide to have a big designer shop in the mall at the airport. That people could sell what they have and project Nigeria and Nigerian culture.
This question is from me. Excuse me. The last time I traveled, when I was coming back, when I was going, all I kept hearing was, Auntie, find us something. Auntie, find us something. How are we going to stop that? Because it's embarrassing. Yeah. It's annoying and disgusting. So how do we stop that in our airports?
I want to thank God that it has reduced greatly. In the past, they will insist, they will delay you, detain you, embarrass you. They will even demand, this is what we need, this is what we want. That is before the era of Kemachipi, but it has reduced greatly. I think one thing we can do is to tell ourselves that we will say no to them nicely, politely, lovingly, and say sorry. find whatever excuse you can use.
But they will start searching your bags and start scattering the whole things there
Yeah.
when you say no to them.
Yeah, but if we don't say no, we will encourage it and it will get back to what it used to be. We just have to find a way of saying no. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not right, or this is against my belief and conviction. But you know that when we go to other countries, they don't treat us like this. They don't mix this demand. Why should we come back home and then our own brothers are trying to extort money from us? Just find a way of talking to them nicely, and then we too should be law abiding. I think we'll begin to fall prey to them if we know that there's something we are hiding or we are guilty. But if there's nothing, if we have not done anything wrong, we can say no and insist, and they will not do anything. And then by the time they ask number one person, the person says no. They ask number two, the person says no. Number three, they say no. With time, they will stop.
Absolutely.
So it is left to us to say no to them, that it is not right, it is not projecting Nigerian image in the right light, and we should stop it. Find a nice way to say no to them, and with time they will learn.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, this last question, I said last question, this is from me. I think now you've said it and I'm admiring so much. I want to go into the aviation industry. I'm thinking in my head. Maybe I can do it. Yes, I can.
Yes,
but
you can.
Someone like me, I've got phobia for heights.
Yeah.
What would you advise me? What would you say to me if I wanted to really, really conquer that fear and be a pilot?
Okay.
Because I plan to have a private jet someday.
Good.
So I can fly myself.
You see? Yeah, I think to start with, you, like I told myself, those people flying, they don't have two heads.
Yeah.
If I'm a Christian, I have God on my side. All things are possible.
Yeah.
So believe in yourself that all things are possible.
Yeah.
Reject and banish and cast out the spirit of fear.
Okay.
And then trust God.
As a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
Because when I fly, when it's going up, I go like this.
But the truth of the matter is, by the time you are on the control wheel, control column, you will not be as fearful as when you are sitting at the back.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you pray about it and you claim it from God, and then take the bull by the horn. Just go and practice.
Okay.
Get into an aircraft and you find it's not as scary as you think.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, because when you're on the wheels and when you're on the control thing. Okay.
And just bearing in mind or remembering that there are a lot of safety measures put in place.
Is it safe to now have robots? Because talking about most of the the aircraft, the accidents we have, the crash we have, it's human error. So is it safe to have robots, flying? Because
I have my question mark in the sense that, in fact, somebody said in future that you will have a dog and a pilot in an aircraft, and then that the work of the dog will be to back and bite the pilot if he tries to achieve anything.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but having said that, robots can fail, anything can malfunction. But if a human being is there, he is there to reorganize and know what to do. I agree too that the computer, the system can reorganize and know what to do. But it gets to a point that even, I want to think it gets to a point that even the computers may not be able to figure things out as fast as, I don't know whether to put it that way, but
the human will.
But I want to think that in any case, it gives me more peace, and I'm sure you, to know that there's a human being that is not a robot when it has to do with one's life. And I want to think that God created us. We are higher than the robot. Human beings make robots.
Absolutely.
So to some extent, there is something